What's up, beautiful people? My name is Morgan Downey, and welcome back to the Get Mo Fit YouTube channel. I am the CEO and co-founder of Get Mo Fit, a health and life coaching business that strives to help single women break free from insecurity, heal from unresolved pain, and just transform unhealthy habits so that they can thrive spiritually, mentally, and physically. And today I am actually going to share how I got out of a toxic relationship cycle and what I did to really enter into a season where I was just thriving in my single season. So this actually was an idea that I got from one of my clients, so shout out to her. But when she shared this idea with me, I thought it would be really important to make it a YouTube video. And I'm probably gonna do a part 1 and part 2 because I have a lot to say on this topic, okay? This is really, one of the building blocks of how Get Mo Fit came to be. So I'm gonna dive into this today. And if you are a single lady and you might be stuck in a cycle of just this toxic relationship or situationship where you got a friend who is, please send this video to your friend or just save this, listen to it later if you can't listen to the whole thing right now, because I'm definitely going to be sharing some things that are going to help you in your journey. So I also want to say that I'm specifically talking about the cycle, because you can be in a toxic relationship and then get out of it and then that's it. Or you can be in a toxic relationship or situationship and it just keeps going and going and going. And it might not be with the same person, but it very well could be. And getting out of that cycle is really, really, really hard. So sis, I empathize with you. Okay, and we're gonna dive into it today. Without further ado, let's go ahead and just get into it. So today I want to just start this video off by sharing where I started, where I was when I was in the midst, the valley of the toxic relationship cycle, and what I began to adopt just in my mind, in my actions, all the things, what this situation did to me, essentially. So first and foremost, I got into this on and off relationship. It started when I was in 8th grade. So I think I was around 13, 14. And it went basically all the way till about my junior year of college. So very, very formative years. And that can be a very sensitive thing for a woman. I mean, for anybody, but especially when you're developing, your brain is developing, all the things, and you're experiencing certain things in relationships, it really affects your adulthood unless you work on it. So there were three main things that the relationship really did to me. And the main 3 things were comparison, really struggling with just comparing myself to other women, trust, broken trust, okay, with him, with myself, with just men in general, and then just fear, a complete lack of faith in what could be. So I'm going to kind of break down each 3 of these things and just talk about the impact that it had on my life. And then I'm going to share with y'all how we got out of this thing, okay? First and foremost, comparison really is one of the worst things to battle with. It is something that the enemy really uses against people to make you feel less than. And from a young age, I began to notice, actually I didn't really notice until later, but looking back on it, I would act, or I would think in ways where, we might be off, right? We might not be in a relationship at the time, and he might be talking to someone, I might be talking to somebody else, but naturally I'm comparing myself to the other girl that he's talking to. And I'm what does she have over me? Does she have anything over me? And I'm now in my head judging this other girl because of the situation that I'm in. And now, not only am I doing that in that situation, but I'm doing that anywhere I go, especially if he was around. I would maybe see another woman and I'm immediately thinking, will he think she's attractive. Is he gonna look at her? Is he gonna stare at her? Is he gonna try and talk to her later because we're not really together, but we kind of act like we're together? Like, just all of the chaos that happens when you're like in the gray area with someone like that. And that really took a toll on just how I saw myself, how I valued myself. And similarly, if you've listened to some of my other YouTube videos, I've talked about the importance of the way you see yourself and what you think is valuable about yourself. And during that time, I began to kind of pick and choose the things that I thought were valuable about me and then compared it to someone else. So for example, when I was growing up, I always got complimented on my eyes. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, your eyes are so beautiful. For a while, I was young. I didn't know why everybody was complimenting my eyes because I thought my eyes looked like everybody else's. But over time, beginning to realize how people in society valued light eyes, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I keep getting complimented on this. So if he's talking to a girl who got darker eyes, oh, she not as good as me because I got light eyes. Like, come on, hello, do you see these? And I literally began to walk around with this, and it was internal. I never like really spoke it, but this like pride of I'm better than this person because my eyes look like this and her eyes are brown. And I mean, just absolutely insanity. But that was one of the effects that the relationship had on me. I always felt like I needed to just like check and make sure like I was good. In addition to the comparison, trust was like a huge thing that was so broken, okay? I don't even know how I made it, okay? If it wasn't for the Lord, because my trust for men was shattered. I did not trust them at all. I said that they were all guilty until proven innocent, and that was like my motto. And not only didn't I trust him, I didn't trust my dad. I didn't trust any dude that tried to talk to me. Like, I just felt like everybody was just trying to be selfish and get things out of me. And it was tough because I literally couldn't experience just talking to people without this like guardedness. And not only that, with other people, I didn't trust myself because we would be on and off and he would do something and then I'd take him back. And the cycle was so continuous that I didn't trust. If I said to myself, this is it, I'm never doing this again, this is never gonna happen again. And then it happened again, like, and it happened a lot, again and again. And I didn't trust my word anymore. I didn't believe myself when I said these things. So now I'm just giving myself false promises that I don't stick to. And it began to erode my trust with myself to the point where I didn't even want to say anything. Because it's like, yeah, Morgan, I know you feeling this way now, but are you actually going to follow through with what you said? That can be a very tough place as well. Because at the end of the day, these things all breed insecurity. Insecurity and, when I'm comparing myself to someone, insecurity and just like not trusting the people around me or trusting myself. Then lastly, fear and just a full lack of faith in just me being able to get out of the situation, him being able to act right, or me being able to find someone who was better. I was afraid of what people would think if we stopped talking. I was afraid of what people would think if we continued to talk. I was afraid of what would happen if, I let go and then someone else came along and they got treated right. I mean, all of these fears of what if this happens or what if this doesn't happen. And I lived in like a constant state of, I don't know what to do because I'm afraid whatever way I go, this bad thing is going to happen. And that is another tactic of the enemy. Like, the enemy uses fear. he tries to instill fear in us and not having faith in the Lord. And at the time, like, I didn't have much of a relationship with God. So it was really just me trying to strong arm this thing by myself. And, there were times where I would, you be going through it, and then this is when you start praying to God, and you're like, God, help me. But then things get a little bit better, and you're just like, oh, thanks, God, on my own now. That was, a big habit of mine. So just overall, like, those three things, just comparing myself, trust, and then just a lack of faith, and just walking in so much fear of what would happen, how people would perceive me, and, just fearful if my future would become what I ultimately wanted it to become. Because I began to question, is it possible to be in a relationship and like dudes actually, like the guy actually just talks to you? Like, is this even possible? That's what the enemy will do. Like, sometimes when we keep on seeing experiences happen, it's easy to fall into, no, this literally isn't even possible. So just settle for what you can get and then move accordingly. And I'm here to tell you, my sister, that is not the way to go. Do not settle because you are sitting in fear and a lack of faith that it can't happen for you. So that's where I was. Now let's get into how things changed for me and what I began to do to actually get out of this cycle. Okay, so now I'm going to get into how did I build myself up after being torn down by this toxic cycle. And I just want to say, first and foremost, you have to be at a place where you are genuinely sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like, you are at your last straw. You cannot take it anymore. Because what I have found is, like, everybody gets to that breaking point, and you can't judge people based on when they get there, even if they know, dude, why are you doing this? Stop it. But like, it's in everybody's own timing, and you can't force someone to get there. They have to get there on their own. So in a nutshell, I really focused on like valuing my peace over anything else. When you get so sick and tired of being sick and tired, you will do anything to just feel at peace. And little story time. So right before I went into my junior year of college, that summer, I found out that I was being cheated on. And up until that point, it was always like little things, but it was never like physical intimacy being cheated on, at least of what I knew. That like realization that like, okay, nope, it's gotten to this point. That shattered me, okay? I was so numb and just distraught, but like literally was so emotionally drained from just the years prior that I had nothing, no more energy left to give. And that was what kind of started the journey. It didn't just kick off immediately, but that's what started it. And I will say it definitely progressed more when I graduated from Spelman. But the three things that like really helped me, number one was changing my beliefs. So again, this took some time after my junior year, but over time I began to just change my beliefs. And first of all, analyze my beliefs and realize what beliefs were really holding me back from getting what I wanted, essentially. And so, for example, one of those beliefs was that all men cheated. Like it was just what it was in my mind. And I was walking around with this belief that was completely like in opposition to what I actually wanted. So even if I met a dude who didn't cheat, who had never cheated in his life, I would still assume he's a cheater. So I wouldn't even be able to see a faithful man if he walked in the room right now. So that was a belief that I did recognize. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to believe this anymore, because if I do, I'm never going to find what I'm looking for, because I've already decided in my mind, no, this is just the reality and that's just it. When in actuality, that is not the reality. That's not true. But what I saw, what I had experienced, that was my truth. But that does not equate to everybody. So in addition to that, I had to change my beliefs about myself, because often as women, we don't think that we are truly worthy and deserving of the love and the true relationship that we want. And if you don't believe you're worthy of love, well, baby, I promise it's going to be very hard to receive real love if you don't believe that you even deserve it, or that you're worthy, and that it's out there for you. So I encourage you, wherever you are, to just take some time and sit, get quiet, because we have to get quiet to really understand ourselves and understand where we are. But you have to identify, what are the limiting beliefs that I have in my mind that do not align with what I actually want out of my life or in my life. So that was number one, really focusing on my beliefs, paying attention to what I'm listening to, songs, movies, TV shows, podcasts, all these things, making sure that what I'm listening to aligns with what I believed or what I wanted to believe, so that it would be easier to actually believe it. Because let me tell you something. If you're constantly talking to your friend and she's like, oh no, all dudes are trash, all dudes are trash, all dudes are trash, and that's all you're hearing all the time, I promise you it's gonna be really hard to believe that all dudes aren't trash. Okay? So be mindful of what you're listening to. Number two, I learned how to forgive, why it's important to forgive, and how to walk that thing out. Okay? So this was really when I started to develop a relationship with the Lord. And I've mentioned this before, but I watched Forgiveness University from Transformation Church. And forgiveness is truly key to getting over the past and being able to move forward. And so often we're like, oh yeah, I forgave them a long time ago. But in actuality, you really didn't. You just kind of forgot about the situation, or you moved on from the situation, but you really just distanced yourself from the situation, or time distanced you from the situation. And now you feel like, oh, I forgave that. But in actuality, you really haven't. And you're walking around with unforgiveness, in your heart, and you're seeing things from a lens of unforgiveness, and you can't even see beyond what that person did to you however many years ago. So forgiveness is truly key when you want to get out of a toxic cycle. And listen, I know it's hard to hear right now, okay? But forgiving yourself, forgiving the people, the dudes that hurt you, often for us women, I'm telling you this right now, forgiving your father. I don't know who your father is or what your situation is, but whether he was present or whether he wasn't present, whether, he was present in a way that you wanted him there or he wasn't, however he showed up or didn't, it has an effect on us as women. Our fathers are our first relationship with a man on this earth. And if that relationship has gone through some rough times, it's really hard to then connect to another man on earth. And it also distorts the way that we experience God as our Heavenly Father. Because if in your mind, your idea of a father is what you've seen in your earthly father, the idea of a Heavenly Father, it's not very promising. So really taking the time to think about, how do you see your father? Are you holding on to things that hurt you in the past, or things that he did that disappointed you? Because people are going to disappoint you. And as unfortunate as it is, we can't have the expectation on others that they're just always going to get it right. Because depending on how they were raised and what they did to change the bad parts of how they were raised, it's either going to happen or it's not. So for me, being able to forgive my dad. When I tell you that set me free, it set me free. And being able to accept him for who he is, where he is, how he grew up, all those things, like it really allowed me to see him from a totally different lens. And coming from someone who, really struggles and still has to monitor it to this day. But like, I was so angry. Like, I carried so much anger towards my past and anger towards men in general that I literally couldn't accept any love from anywhere, because I'm just like, all of you disgust me. So get away, all of you. And even though I wanted a healthy marriage one day, I wouldn't have been able to accept it in that state. God wouldn't have been able to give it to me because I couldn't. My heart was so hard to it. So, I highly recommend you go and watch that series. It is a series I give to my clients all the time because it walks you through the steps of forgiveness and why it's important. And understand that you don't have to just do it off the bat. You don't have to, boom, you got it, good, cool. Like, take your time and just learn about forgiveness. Just be open to learning about it and what can happen if you don't do it. And lastly, the main thing that I did to get out of my toxic cycle was build my life around holistic health. So at the time, I kind of knew what I was doing, but I really didn't know. And it started with physical, started in the gym, working out, and that was awesome. It definitely helped me release stress. A lot of things were going on in my life relationally and with my mom and all of that. So the gym was definitely something that helped me work through my stuff. But over time, I began to realize that it's not just physical. You can't have the physical and ignore the spiritual, mental, emotional. Like, you can't do that, because you will not truly be a healthy and whole person if you don't, give some TLC to all of you. I will say the most important aspect was the spiritual for me, and like cleansing my spirit, like giving my life to Christ and cleansing my spirit in a way where I opened my heart up to God, to just, God, take all my burdens. I can't carry them anymore. Release them, God, because I was just, and it was my mom. Yes, it was my past relationships and just so much hurt, just built up hurt over the years. But really taking the time to improve my relationship with the Lord. So what does that look like practically? That means getting in community. That means reading your word. I watched a lot of Transformation Church because the Pastor Michael Todd, he's just very relatable, especially for new Christians who, might not understand the Bible or just have a hard time really understanding things in church. He does a great job of just making things very practical and relatable in somewhat of an entertaining way. And although church is not about entertainment, it does help a young believer like stay engaged. So between taking the time to really build my spiritual life, I was also working on my mental and emotional health. And that looked like going to therapy. That looked like journaling a lot, because you want to, just how you would track a fitness journey and take pictures, your journal is like your mental progression of how you're doing and where you are. And you need to write out the things that you're thinking about. Like, as you're trying to figure out your beliefs and, where your beliefs are right now, you gotta, write it down, like really get clear on where you are. And I used to write down what I was struggling with and then take it to my therapist and kind of go through my notes or go through my journal entries and just share and begin to work through it in community. And those things, when I tell you they changed my life, but you have to be consistent with it. Just like you would be consistent with a fitness goal of every week you're working on this, you have to be consistent with any other type of goal that you have, just in terms of getting healthy. And this type of thing is exactly what I do with my clients now. Like, all of this pain that I've been through, okay, God is using it. And he has made it into a life coaching program a health and life coaching program where I help women walk through this process so that one, you don't have to do it by yourself, because I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to do it by yourself, and I don't recommend doing it by yourself. Whether it's a coach, whether it's a therapist, you gotta include the Lord, but like you gotta practice these things. Just how, you show up to the gym and you might not be good the first day, but you just keep showing up. You might not see the results in 2 weeks, but in 2 months, girl, you're gonna start to feel better. You're gonna start to reach a level of peace. And when you start to experience a peace in your singleness, a peace of like, yes, I'm single right now. I want a relationship one day, but right now I'm okay exactly where I am because I'm pouring into myself. And you've probably been outpouring so much and you feel so drained from this toxic cycle or just from this cycle of just failed relationships, that what you need is a season of pouring back into you. Next week, I'm going to be sharing 3 specific mindset shifts that are required to commit to a season of singleness where you are pouring back into yourself. These mindset shifts change the game. They are what allowed me to commit to the things that I just talked about in this video. These shifts, you have to have, because you have to protect your single season. You want to make sure that you're not allowing certain things in, because if you do, it can pull you right back and you can get right back in that cycle and a new dude come along. Like, you really want to protect your single season and use it as a way to just build yourself up. So that way, when you are, years from now, or it might not be years, who knows, but in the future, you are in a healthy place, in a healthy position where you can give yourself to someone. Because I promise you, where you are right now, you probably are either afraid to give yourself to someone, you're just very hesitant, or just think it's gonna fail, period. Like, wherever you are, that's okay. But I'm here to tell you that things can get better. I am happily married, expecting my first child, loving my life, walking with the Lord, and out of that toxic cycle. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please drop them below. I would love to chat with you ladies. If anything resonated with you, please let me know. If there's any topics that you'd want me to dive deeper into, let me know as well. And I'll see you guys next time.